I'm so glad you could make it. Sit down, sit down. Oh, yeah. Oh, the band is gonna be awesome tonight. I dig it.
Hey, welcome back to Therapy Sessions. That's THAIRAPY Sessions. I'm your host, Auntie Hair Coach, and I interview regular people telling real stories about their beauty industry journey. I know that what we do is fun and perceived as glamorous, so it's through sheer audacity that professional stylists and barbers are creating industry disruption in their own unique ways. I've spoken with business owners, industry influencers, educators, innovators, and so much more. We share beauty industry tips, tricks, pitfalls, cheat codes, and everything in between just to remind you that you're not alone. With therapy sessions, it is my sincerest intention that by sharing our unique journeys with the world, beauty professionals will be empowered to discover your own uniqueness, which is where your true superpowers lie. So relax, get vulnerable, get inspired, hit that follow button, and be empowered to discover and share your own unique power to contribute to this amazing beauty industry that continues to challenge us all to keep learning, keep growing, and keep reaching for the highest version of ourselves. I'm Auntie Hair Coach, and this is Season 3 of Therapy Sessions.
I'm so glad you could make it.
Hey, welcome back to Therapy Sessions. That's THAIRAPY Sessions. I'm your host, Auntie Hair Coach, and I interview regular people telling real stories about their beauty industry journey. Today's guest is a healthy hair stylist and hair loss practitioner. I met her recently while working backstage at Atlanta Fashion Week. Her name is LaToya, and LaToya has entered the chat. Hey, LaToya.
Hey, Tasha, how you doing, Auntie?
Hey, girl. Hey. Yes. So, like I said, I just met you recently backstage at Atlanta Fashion Week, or in the hair and makeup room of Atlanta Fashion Week. So, I don't know that much about you yet, but so before we get started, if you would just kind of share your origin story. Who is LaToya? Where did you grow up? How did you grow up? Just who are you?
Yeah, so LaToya is an energetic, charismatic, always seeking information, loves therapy, all
Mm,
about family. Um, that's me in a nutshell. I am originally from Baltimore, Maryland. Just moved out here to Georgia in December, so I am approaching a year.
okay.
Um, most of my life I've been in Baltimore, but I have also lived in California, also lived in Virginia, and now I'm here with my 16-year-old daughter. Um, growing up, I've always done hair, always did hair. My mom actually did hair. She had her makeup and hair room. She was a Murray Kay Avon consultant, so we had a whole pink room, and I watched
Yeah.
her do hair. And by looking at her do it, I actually picked up the skill and kind of carried it on from there. So a little bit about me and so much more. But yeah.
Yes. Yes. Um, I have so many questions just based on that little snippet. So, but it sounds like you always wanted to do hair. Did you know that you always wanted to do hair?
Interestingly, like hair is just always something that I always did, always something
Mm,
I knew how to do. However, in life, I was always trying to find what my purpose is. And I
mm,
never looked at hair as being my purpose. I was like, I just know how to do that.
mhm,
Let me pay for this class. Let me do this over here. And if I was always trying to reinvent the wheel instead of really cultivating what God had already instilled in me, I feel like had I known what I know now, I would be like amazing by now, so much further ahead. But God's design is immaculate. You can't question it, but so much. And it ended up bringing me right back to hair somehow, some way. Whenever
mhm,
there was a need, a struggle, times felt hard. hard. Hair always saved me.
Yeah.
And I feel like in hair, it was always healing in doing hair. The conversations that I had in doing hair. Um, yeah, I didn't know it was my calling until not too long ago,
Yeah.
actually, because I just finished hair school after doing hair my whole life. I just finished hair school last year.
Wow. And tell me how old you are?
39.
Okay. Boy, we know black don't crack, boy.
Yeah,
Okay, so
look,
you're 39
I ain't
years
gonna crack
old,
over
but
there.
so you're 39, but you
Mhm.
just graduated cosmetology school last year after doing hair your entire life. So
Yes.
what are some other things that you thought that you were supposed to be doing before you stepped into your purpose?
Thought I was supposed to be working in the fashion industry. I went to fashion school doing marketing and merchandising, did some designing. Um, then I was like, well, maybe making the clothes isn't my thing. Maybe I should be, marketing and pushing the clothes and things like that. So I was a West Coast sales representative, selling clothes all up and down the West Coast and traveling and having me a good old time. Um, After that, I was just always seeking and looking and looking and seeking,
Uh-huh.
um, dibbling and dabbling in different things. But throughout the whole entire course, hair was always there.
You were
But
still doing hair. And so
yeah,
what was the thing that made you realize, what why am I not in cosmetology school? Like, why don't I just get this license? What was there a moment that made you realize it was time?
several
Okay.
moments.
Yeah.
So, some of the moments was me losing out on money, having
Mm.
clientele just consistently coming to me and saying, "Hey, can you do my color? Hey, can you do my cutting?" And me saying, "No, I can only do your braids. I can only do your locks. I can only do the
Yeah.
things that I didn't have to be licensed for in the state of Maryland. I didn't tap into anything else." That was one thing that let me know that I needed to go to school. But then the next thing was my mom. I used to always do her hair, and every Wednesday, in me doing her hair, she developed some spots on her hair, and I was like, spots on her scalp. And I was like, hey, you got some spots. And then I would come back and I'm like, it's spreading in different areas. I don't know what's going
Mm.
on. And then eventually I was like, I might want to see a dermatologist. Like, I don't know what this is. And long story short, she found out she had lupus. It was from the spots that was on her scalp.
Wow.
So in that, I was like, wow, like it's the spots on your scalp that helped us to figure out that
Yeah.
you have a whole disease over here. There were other
Yeah.
stuff going on, but that, for some reason, that's the one that actually stood out to actually seek out some professional assistance and guidance.
Mhm.
Um, so once she had experienced that, we actually found out some other type of health issues that she was enduring, that the hair was actually showing us signs all along that we never paid attention to. My mom, she found out she had lupus in April of 2020. No, excuse
Oh,
me. She found out
wow.
February of 2020 that she had lupus. April 2020, we found out she had ALS. August
Wow.
2020, she passed away.
Oh my
So
goodness. I'm
yeah,
so
it was
sorry.
2020 already sucked as it is. And I said,
2020 was terrible. Like,
yeah,
wow, I'm so sorry. And so I know that, especially, I mean, maybe this is a thing for everyone. I don't know. I can only speak from the place of being a Black woman because that's my only experience.
me too. Yeah.
And what, right? So what I find, and so I would, because I want to talk about some of the symptoms that you said you were seeing in her hair all along. Because what I find as a Black woman who also has multiple autoimmune issues, um, that in hindsight, I realized that I was, I call it Black womaning, right? Like there's things that need to be done and I'm going to do them. And it doesn't matter that I'm really tired. Like I'm probably just tired because I've been working so much, or, you know what I mean? Like you're making all these excuses for what your body is trying to tell you.
Hmm.
So what kinds of things were you seeing in her hair. You said that in the hair you kind of could see it all along and just didn't realize it. So she definitely was losing hair, yeah.
Absolutely. My mother started having hair loss, I would say, in her late 30s. In her
Okay.
late 30s, she started to have, and now I kind of know some of the terminologies, but she was experiencing the androgenetic alopecia. And
Mhm.
androgenetic alopecia was pretty much around your edges.
Mhm.
That is where it started.
Mhm.
Um, Eventually, it went from the left side all the way over to
Wow.
front of her hair. Um, and then she also had little spotting up here, but
Mhm.
it was all in the front and all in the back. It started off with hair breakage. And then eventually it was smooth, just very
Mm.
smooth as the back of my hand. Um, and it just kept on going further and further back. And we just looked at that as, weaves too tight, braids too tight, um, something of that nature. And then it was
Yeah.
just like, well, I don't know, but I'm going to keep on trying this and doing that. She's seen dermatologists. They gave her things that will work. And then when services stopped, it didn't work anymore.
Mhm.
Um, Kind of went back to phase one. Then after a while, it got to the point that she was just like, I'm just going to do the lace front wigs and things like that. And this was back in probably this is when lace front wigs were not big. You spent like
Mhm.
$2,000 for your lace
Mhm.
front wigs. They would size you. They really wanted you to shave off all your hair and style it for you. So that was probably back in the uh, probably
Back in the 1900s.
1900s, probably about 1999, closer to the
Mhm.
beginning 2000s.
Mhm.
I want to say it's earlier than that, but I'm gonna go with 95, 99.
Mhm.
Um, Started doing things like that. But then I
Mhm.
would say probably in her 60s, she kind of shake sometimes. So there
Mm.
were other signs, but we would go to the doctors and they were just saying she had all kinds of stuff, but what she had, they never said what she had until we
Mhm.
found out later on um, what it was. But plenty of signs. And just like 2020 taught me, a lot, what works for one doesn't work for the other. And what looks like this over here doesn't look like that over there. And
Mhm.
you kind of become a guinea pig until they figure
Mhm.
it out. And
Mhm.
that's kind of was our experience until it
Yeah.
was like going to a dermatologist. So the dermatologist did help with the spots though, because it was the spots that they saw and
Mhm.
determined this is lupus. So the
Okay.
dermatologist out with that because nobody else was testing for that.
Yeah. And I do have a question for you that I want to do it later in our broadcast. But I know that you're is it trichologist?
I
Trichologist?
aspire to be a trichologist one day, but I am a practitioner
Hair
right
loss
now. So
practitioner
I'm
currently.
studying under a
Oh,
trichologist, so you're right on. But yeah,
yes.
not for
Okay.
so I'm not going to take that
Okay.
title from
I mean, but we're
that.
speaking things into fruition. But okay, but we're practicing currently, headed in that direction. And I
Yeah.
definitely want to have a conversation about the difference between a dermatologist and a trichologist. But before we get there, what made you were you in Maryland before you came to Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. What made you leave Maryland and come to Georgia?
My job said that they were relocating to Georgia after I had been with them for 9 years. And I said, you won't be taking my full pension. I'm going.
Period.
So
What were you
yeah.
doing?
And internal auditor,
Okay.
something completely not necessarily my passion, but
Not at all.
we do
But
for
it
the
pays the
benefits
bill.
to take
Yes,
care of the house, you know.
absolutely. Absolutely. And you're not still working for them. So you had not gone to
Well,
cosmetology.
I do. I
You
work.
do?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I did not realize that. Okay, so you are literally like in the early stages of building your cosmetology career.
Absolutely, especially being in a new state.
Yes,
Yes, so there
yes,
has been definitely the one thing that I love about Georgia is I call it the Black Mecca, right?
yes,
Because it's so many opportunities out here.
absolutely.
And I'm an individual of lots of prayer and lots of faith. Georgia is not necessarily somewhere that I wanted to come, but I prayed
Mm,
about it and I kept on getting pointed in this direction. And I must admit that within the hair loss practitioner realm, it's been going pretty good and I've been learning and growing so much, but I definitely still have so much more to grow in. I
of course,
definitely do.
of
Hmm.
course. And I think that's true in any industry, but especially in the business of hair. It, it's just constantly evolving, constantly changing. So if you're not continuing to learn, like you won't be here. You won't be
Yeah,
here. You know what
things
I'm
happen
saying?
and change so fast. Like
Yes.
yesterday's style is not today's fashionable
Mm,
hairstyle.
yes.
It's a
Yes.
nuance and a new way of doing things. So yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. And so how are you feeling about Georgia since you got here?
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
The people that I have bumped into, such as yourself,
Mhm.
it's been a magnetic pull to say the least.
Mhm.
I have been attracted to so much positive energy, so many great opportunities. Um, like I said, I love seeking knowledge, getting information, putting it to use, and I've been able to do those things. And luckily, it hasn't, well, not luckily, because of God, it hasn't been a struggle, like, and I'm
Good.
grateful for that. Um, like I said, I still have a ways to go, but it's
Mhm.
been really good, especially being by the schedule that I have. But
Mhm.
somehow, some way, I make it work, and
Yes.
it works well.
Good. Yes. So how did you come to end up at Atlanta Fashion Week?
Fashion Week. Well, I am at a trichology center. So where I work at is called Restore Salon and
Okay.
Trichology Center, located in Allstout, Georgia. And I work with one of the stylists that was there. You would think she was the manager, the way that she was running around behind the scene and doing everything, but she actually works at the salon with me. And she was just saying, "Hey, I'm going to be working Fashion Week," and I was like, "Really?" Like, coming from the fashion industry and
Mm.
working in it for so long, I was like, wow, like I'm a person of volunteer. I love volunteering. I love giving
Mhm.
back. I love doing for others. I feel like open hand is you receive, but is to give out as well. So I
Mhm.
was like, I think this would be a great opportunity to work the fashion a different
Mhm.
way and do hair
Yeah.
instead of fashion piece. So
Yeah.
the young lady, she was like, well, you're more than welcome to show up if you like. And I said, I am there. Um,
Period.
yeah,
Yeah.
next year, if I would love to do it and do it, make sure I wipe out my whole week schedule to actually participate more. I only got to do one day, and
Same.
I feel like I missed out on so much.
Yeah.
But you live and you learn. You know better, you do better. Next
Yes.
year is another opportunity, God willingly.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely. Okay. And I'm sorry, was your mom licensed? I know you said she was kind of always doing hair and makeup. Was your mom licensed?
No, and back in the day, a license wasn't needed for everything. Like back in the
Mhm.
day, you could be a bartender. Now you got to be a mixologist. She
Mhm.
she was not licensed. She worked for
Okay.
a big company back up north called Baker's though, and she would actually make a lot of wigs for a lot of the people in the Jewish community. That's how she got started. And I used to always say, now I thought wigs was just for older, black women. And she like,
Mhm.
no, like the whole Jewish culture, all of them got wigs on, and I made so many of them. I was like,
Funny.
really? So it was just funny. I said sometimes we like to, point out differences when we have so much more in common than we would like
Hmm.
to think sometimes. So she was not licensed, but she did everybody's hair.
Okay.
Our house was the hangout house. So as far as friends, the young ones, but the mothers would come to my house to get their hair done by my mom, while the kids would be downstairs, and we would be downstairs having fun and being kids.
Yes. Yes. So I know that when I go through your IG page, there
Mhm.
is a lot, and your IG, I'm sorry, share your the name of your Instagram page with us.
My Instagram is provider of healthy healing hair.
Yes. And when I go through the page, I see so much information. It's clear that kind of your philosophy around beauty is that it comes from the inside out.
Yes.
Can you just share a little bit about how you came to that understanding and just kind of your philosophy in regards to taking care of your clients?
Absolutely. Um, I realized that well, in the beginning, when I started to just be interested in health, I realized that, food, stress, just intentionality plays a big part on things. And when you don't necessarily take care of um, self kind of starts to dwindle away in areas, right? Such as hair loss. So, I would do a lot of research. The starter of my research actually came from Queen Afua. Queen Afua is someone that I just became, I don't know, I don't even know what sparked the interest. But needless to say, I started becoming interested in her, and I read her book about healing. And she just was pretty much talking about the foods that we should eat and the way we should, cleanse ourselves and things. And in working with my mom and going through things with her, you know, everything started from the internal. It was inside, they always say healing, all the answers you need, it's within you. And I'll be like, yeah, right. I don't know what they're talking about.
Mm.
But as I began to read Queen Afua's book, as I began to engage more and more and actually live out the experience and seeing how the internal does affect your external, and how, something that starts with stress can really hinder your body. I started to dive in, get more information, change my dieting, and got really into oils and herbs and things of that nature. As I learn, I like to share. So on my page, you'll see me sharing information about, oils that are beneficial, supplements that food that you can take in versus taking a supplemental, pill and things of that nature. The body naturally heals itself, but we aren't as knowledgeable as we once were. So my goal is to get the information and share it, so that I'm not selfish, but we can all just do that work and
Right.
heal ourselves and be a better version of us through herbs, through oils, through intentionality in reference to therapy. There you go.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that. And um therapy in terms of the healing of the mind, right? And in a lot of ways, I mean, this podcast is called Therapy Sessions, right? In a lot of ways, I consider hairstylists to be healers, and in fact, historically, barbers were like the doctors, right? Like we did bloodletting and all of that back in the day, and so I just find it interesting that that is your focus because it is so much a part of the history of this industry. Um, I know that you were feeling a pull, right, towards cosmetology,
Mm-hmm.
and can you talk about, and I know you kind of shared what made you go to cosmetology school in the first place, but now you're a mom of a 16, I guess 15, 14, 15-year-old girl when you go to cosmetology school, right? You've already got quote unquote a good job. right? You're making decent money. You can take care of your family. And then at some point, you sat your daughters down. You sat your daughter down because you had a vision. Do you mind sharing about your vision and like what it means to be stepping into your purpose at this point, this stage of your life?
Absolutely. Great question. As I'm raising this young girl, I am telling her all the time, find out what you love so you never have to work a day in your life. It's like not
Hmm.
really a true statement, but it was rooted in some truth, right? Because the truth of it
Yeah,
is, if you love it, you don't mind it so much. Is it hard work?
it doesn't
Absolutely.
feel, yeah.
It doesn't have to feel like it's really hard work. So many times, I went to college, I have student loans, debt, and you know better, you do better. I'm not signing over any loans for her. I'm like, if you want to do some
Hmm.
things, I'm gonna need you to start it now. Just, planting little seeds,
Hmm.
networking, kind of working things. And as I was talking to her, I'm like, why do I always talk to her a certain way and don't talk to myself a certain way? You know? Um,
Yeah.
you kind of get caught up in this rat race of doing things because you have to do it, and it's quote unquote what's safe for you and your household. My job has benefits. Working in cosmetology, benefits is not always something that's guaranteed, and most likely you're going to have to pay out of pocket for it. And God forbid you get hurt. You know,
Yeah.
might not be making any
Hmm.
money at all, but yet, mortgage or
Hmm.
rent, car payments, and things of that nature is still due. So in me telling her, do what you love doing and perfect that, I stated that I need to be what I am speaking about. I was brought
Walk
up
the
in that
talk. Yeah.
generation to do as you are told, not as, do as I tell you, not as I do.
Hmm.
But that never worked for me.
Hmm.
And I want to be the mom that she lived it, she showed it, and I reiterate it in what I do by what I saw in her. So that's kind of what I did with going back to cosmetology school. I mean, it's so crazy that when I graduated from high school, I graduated a year early. I was 16 years old when I
Mm.
graduated from high school, and I went to school for architect. I said, let me build some stuff. I don't. It was always something artsy,
Okay.
right? But I'm doing hair and
Yeah.
going to school, architect and design and things like that. And I would go to the school. It was a hair school up the street
Wow.
from my house, and I would teach them how to braid because they didn't teach braiding
Wow.
back in 2000 and 2000s in high school. They didn't teach stuff like that. It was just roll a set, roll a set, roll a
Wow.
set. So I used to go to school, teach them
Hmm.
how to do things, and then I would leave and they'd be like, why you don't go to school? And I'd be like, I already know how to do hair. I don't think I had the mentality. I wasn't ready, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, but I could have been going to school then. It would have made so
Yeah.
many experiences so different. But needless to say, I think
Yeah.
I went to school when I went because that's when I was open to learn, open to receive, not so cocky, and
I got you.
more so of a drive to get it done. I don't have any time to play. My mom just died.
Okay.
I
Hmm.
have to live out my purpose and do the things that I enjoy doing, that I love doing, and that will be purposeful not only for myself but for others. I can't continue to live in this rat race trying to do this over here and that over there and appeasing everyone else, but not being fulfilled or happy myself. you know.
Yes.
That's when I realized that
Yes.
it's time to go to school. And it was hard. Like I work all day and go to school
I
at
love
night.
that.
But I was
Yes.
like, it's
And
no
then you've got
stopping.
a teen child. What's your
Mhm.
support system look like in Georgia?
We're figuring out our village. Our village is
Yes.
in the making. It's in the making.
Yes. Yeah. You haven't been here that long, so yeah.
Yeah, it's in the making. I do have
So you mentioned. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying I have some people out here, but Georgia's big. They're like an hour away.
Mhm,
We need like 15-minute village, 5 minutes,
mhm,
but we'll get there.
mhm, mhm. Yes. 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 So you mentioned that before you went to cosmetology school that you were going to the cosmetology school and teaching braiding because they didn't have anyone that knew how to do that. When you went to cosmetology school, how much textured hair education did you get?
I would say that I was blessed to have the teachers that I had
Mm,
because they were intentional. But let me tell you, the nighttime students did not get the same teaching that the daytime students got. And I was the nighttime students. And
okay.
both of my teachers were very, very much in the industry and they had textured hair themselves. So
Okay.
I was learning how to do the all kind of stuff and they were letting me do my thing too. So I am not definitely um not the norm. Because even when I was in school and
Yeah,
posting,
yeah,
everybody was like, "They are not teaching us. You're doing microlinking. Like, what are they? When did they
yes,
start doing that?" And I'm like, "Girl, my
yeah,
teachers just they do, and they take classes, and it's not even a part of the curriculum. They just love what they do so much that they stuck that in there because." We as the nighttime students were hungry and all of us were coming in from working all day that we were serious. We was like, we wanted to know this, we wanted to know that. And our teachers were willing to provide it. So
yes.
timing was
I
ridiculous.
love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Okay, so earlier in the podcast, I had mentioned that I wanted to talk with you about because I know that you're studying hair loss and are a hair loss practitioner. There is though a difference. So like if someone comes in my chair currently and they've got like the little circles of alopecia, I've been suggesting that they go and see a dermatologist. It never occurred to me that there would be a hair loss practitioner. And like I know of trichology, but it never occurred to me to seek that out. So in coming in contact with you now, this is on my radar. What is the difference between if I have a client in my chair that I suspect has alopecia? What's the difference between sending them to a dermatologist versus to a hair loss practitioner? And should I suggest one or the other, or should I be suggesting both? What are your thoughts around that?
Yes. In reference to providing the options, it's so many options nowadays. So it really depends on the person and where they
Mhm,
are in life. So quick fix, give me some medication. I'll take anything,
mhm,
versus,
mhm,
I do
mhm.
not like medication. I don't like popping pills. I pretty much, live this kind of lifestyle versus that. Sometimes that is the difference. Um, Not all the times though.
Okay,
I have had so many of my clients that came straight in from the dermatologist. Like they've gone to dermatologists and then come to us because they never knew that we existed, to your point. What I would say is
okay.
dermatologists are amazing in what they do. They have their licensing. They are licensed to provide prescriptions and things of that nature. I am not licensed, nor are trichologists generally licensed for the prescriptions of it. We are more from a holistic point of view. I am not,
Mhm,
me personally, I don't even like taking medication. I like to think of my kitchen as my lab. In my lab, I
mhm,
promote life or death, and I usually choose
mhm,
life. You know, so so with
mhm.
that being
I can see
said,
it in your skin, okay?
thank you. So
Yeah.
with that being said, I'm always trying to find out what can we do now that's going to provide a longevity effect? What are you willing to do? Because some people like, this is how I eat. I'm not changing anything. You know, what I provide you with is going to just be information, but with knowledge without works is nothing. You know, it's not going to get very
Yeah.
far. But for those who kind of follow the plan that we provide, they excel and they do well. Dermatologists do wonderful within their realm as well. There have been times where clients have come straight from the dermatologist because they've taken the medication, but after they take the medication, just like my mom's experience, hair loss starts. And I'm not saying that that's the case for everybody. Just so happens to be some of the people that have come and sat in my chair, you know. And the tools that I provide is, you can come to me and I can help you. I'm going to show you what you can do, but then it's up to you. Some people like, girl, I would never sit and do all of this. I like this pampering
Yeah.
feeling. I like for you to massage my scalp, and you got your, your lavender and your tea tree and your peppermint, and it's a whole vibe. This is my therapy session, and my massage,
Yeah.
they like that. Versus some other people, they have that, I can do it. Just tell me what I can do. And I'm like, well, get this, get that, and do this frequently and enjoy. But again, it's not
Yeah.
any type of prescriptions. It's mainly, herbs, or even if you don't like, I just do not like vegetables. Okay, well then we're gonna get you some supplements. Things like that is what
Okay.
I pretty much recommend. And then of course, we work with doctors too, because I am not a doctor nor trying to be your doctor. So,
Yes.
I'm going to say, for me to, like we mentioned earlier, what works for one person may not work for the other person. Just because this looks like this over here, I can tell it's autoimmune, but I can't say that this is what it is. A dermatologist will say this is what it is, just like the situation with my mom. You have lupus. I'm not going to say that to anyone until their doctor, dermatologist, makes that call. I'm going to say,
Yeah.
hey, I see this. This appears to be an autoimmune deficiency. Since we don't know what it is, I need you to go get your blood work. And these are the panels that you're going to need to get for us to read it, find out what's going on, and get something that's specific to you. Although we don't necessarily come up with, diseases of what it's called and things of that nature, we might be the first sign to say something's going on, autoimmune. And then you go to your doctor and you find out this is what's
Absolutely.
going on. I actually got thyroids. I didn't even know, or I'm taking this medication. And,
Absolutely.
it's like, okay, I can help guide you, but I am not going to be the one to saying that this is what it is. And that's the difference between the
Absolutely.
psychologist and the dermatologist.
I got you. Yep, absolutely. And while I have found skin cancer and psoriasis and all kinds of things, same thing. I say, here is an area of concern. I recommend that you go and see a doctor, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah. And then, like you said, they come back and they're like, yeah, so my thyroid is the reason why my hair is falling out, or whatever. Absolutely.
Yep, I feel like we all can work together, completely not
Yes.
against dermatologists whatsoever. We all have a space. I love to say McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, Checkers, Raleigh's. It
Yes.
depends on what the flavor is. What
Yes.
your taste buds want today? I can't service the world.
Yes. Yes. And that's really the thing is, for me, it's always been, and what I love specifically about Georgia, because I've only been in Georgia for 2.5 years. Um, and so I was really excited to move here, Atlanta specifically, because in my mind, in the United States, Atlanta's got to be like, if not the center of the hair and fashion universe, it's definitely top three, right? Besides New York and LA, what else is there in hair and fashion? I feel like
You had
Atlanta's
Detroit,
it.
or it's Chicago somewhere. They did fat hair
Okay.
big. Hmm. Back
Yeah.
in the day, it
Okay.
was
Okay. I mean, I'll allow it. Okay. So top five, right?
more.
So I was super excited, but I was really nervous because I tend to be kind of shy and introverted. And I didn't know what to expect from, like, I didn't know if it was going to be very competitive or like what the vibes were going to be. My experience here has been that people are, there's not, it hasn't been my experience yet that there's a ton of gatekeeping. It seems like people are very open and helpful and inviting and encouraging. Has that been your experience here?
It has, and I'm grateful for it because that hasn't
Good.
always been the case, you know. I've been
Yeah.
places and it's like, yeah, so and so they do hair like this. I don't like this or I don't like that. And I'm like, I don't subscribe
Yeah.
to that. Like, I don't ever want to hate on
Yeah.
anyone's craft. So I haven't bumped into it too much out here.
Okay.
You know, like you said, it's a melting pot of information. I've probably seen little mediocre things, but again, since I don't subscribe to it, I kind of exit stage right if I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Mm-hmm.
that's probably because of your energy and my energy.
Mm.
We only
Okay.
attract what we giving
Okay.
out. And if that's, you know, other than
Okay.
that, those who might want to say things or like, you know, they gonna see us and say,
Yeah.
so we don't have to say nothing, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay, so we've reached the stage of the podcast where I call it story time with Auntie Hair Coach. So I have three questions, or three prompts. And some guests like to do all three prompts, some like to do one or two. It's your choice, whatever you want to do. But I give you three prompts, and then you tell me at least one story based on these prompts.
Okay.
You ready?
I think.
All right. They're simple. They're not trick questions. So the first question is, what is the most creative way that you've used your skill set? And it doesn't necessarily have to be just since you've been licensed, because I realize you've been doing hair a really long time. So, what's the most creative way that you've used your skill set? The second prompt would be, what are you most excited about in the industry right now? The third prompt is, tell me the worst beauty industry advice you've ever gotten.
Hmm. All right. My most creative, I would say hair school was kind of fun. You know, we used to have a ball in there and just make all kind of things with hair. You know, I was making clothes with hair and, you know, outfits and had things glowing in the dark if you turned on the black light. So I would definitely say in hair school, I was most creative because I was just trying to just have fun. Like, I was
Yes.
just having fun. So I would say most creative there.
Yes.
And then, of course, that pours out into the other things that I do. Now, within my creativity, sometimes I feel like there are blocks because clients don't want all that creativity all the time. They like, simmer down now, simmer down.
Hmm.
So,
Yes.
fashion
Yes.
show, the Bieber,
Yes.
um, I'm like, finally, I can put this creativity out. Um, and school, that was kind of fun. But now I would actually say creative. Um, you know, wigs. Wigs can be fun, and wigs allow us to switch up
Yeah.
our outlook, you know, our exterior, and switch it up a little bit. So I
Hmm.
have fun with wigs, especially with some of my clients who have hair loss, who want different colors and different vibes and different styles. I'll have more fun with that. Um,
Yes.
and the next one, what was the second one? I'm gonna try to answer them all.
What did I ask you? I asked about the most creative way you've used your skill set. I asked about the worst beauty industry advice you've ever gotten. And I
Good
asked
one.
about the trends that you're most excited about. So,
And I am mostly excited about, and I don't want to call this a trend because then a trend is, it might die off kind of fast. But what I am loving is the way that people are embracing their natural. It's a beautiful thing. It's so much more accepted. Like once upon a time, I was like,
Yeah.
locks wasn't even an option because I wanted to have a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
You
military,
needed
you
to look
couldn't have.
professional, right?
Yeah, and it's like I can look professional with my locks if I want to. I can let
Right.
them grow. I can color
Right.
them. I can curl them. Like I can have some fun with my locks. So I'm loving that people
Mhm.
are embracing themselves, and I feel like it's so much healing when you accept you.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, I get so
As you
many. I've
are.
heard so many
Yes.
people say, "Oh, the ugly phase." I'm like, well, terminology is so important. We got to use different words, first of all. Like,
It
it does
is.
not the ugly
Seriously.
phase, it's the growing phase.
Yes.
And in the growing phase, you're not
Yes.
just growing your hair, but you're growing internally. So I
Absolutely.
love
And I
to
love
see,
that phase. I think that phase is so cute.
I had a
When they're just
struggle with
wild and they just do whatever they want to do.
I had a struggle with it, but you know what? The struggle wasn't my hair. The struggle was internal. And that's what my locks
Yes.
revealed to me. The locks revealed to me that I
Yes.
was so caught up in what society wanted me to be and told me I needed to be that, when my hair
Mhm.
was this long 4 years ago when I started the journey, I had the individual fake lashes going on because I wanted you to be able to tell that I was a girl, you know. I
Yes.
don't know why I didn't
Yes.
think people can't see that I'm a girl, but it's like I don't know how these things get caught up in your mental. Then I was like, okay, I
Yes.
gotta get lashes done. I gotta wear makeup, right? My hair journey started
Yes.
with my daughter. She said she wanted locks, and I said I will join you on this journey. Well, at the time, she was 12. So,
Okay.
she couldn't put on lashes. She couldn't wear makeup. They told her she
Yeah.
looked like a boy. People were saying, why did you,
Hmm.
we always doing hair. We change our hair all the time. In middle school, I got an award for most likely to change hairstyle award. So to have short
Yes.
locks and not being able to be versatile, but me putting on all this stuff and my daughter not being able to
Yeah.
do those things had me like,
Yes.
why am I like that? So the self discovery
Yeah.
of saying, love me for
Mm.
me, accept me for me, and not what other people say I should be was beautiful. So now you got all the hair extensions that can be like put on your locks to grow it out. And I'm like, hey, to each his own. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, like I said before. Have it your way. However
Hmm.
you want it, go for it. But
Hmm.
if you decide to go the natural route, it's so many life lessons. It's not just hair lessons. It's transferable lessons. And
Yes.
I love that. So that's why I said I don't think it's a trend, but it's definitely a beautiful thing just
Yeah.
to embrace self and not always how long is your hair, but how high is your hair? How much closer to
Hmm.
God are you reaching with your hair? You know what I mean? Because every
Hmm.
it don't just
Yeah.
come. With length it does, but like you said at first, it was kind of everywhere. And after a while, I would wake up and I would be like, "All right, nice earrings. Okay, I like what I see.
Hmm.
I'm good." But I like what was going on inside too. That's what made the difference.
Yes.
All right, Mom. I
Yes.
know my answers are
Yes.
long. I'm sorry. The third one.
No, no, no. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Have you ever gotten any bad beauty industry advice?
Bad, I wouldn't say bad advice. I would say people trying to put people against each other. Like I've been
Mm.
in realms where it's like, do you know so and so? Like, I don't like the way they do hair, or why would they do it this way? Or kind of speaking negatively. And I think that that's
Mhm.
bad examples because then that kind of
Okay.
normalizes what should never be normalized, and that's coming against each other. We should all grow and learn and excel together. Um,
Mhm.
so advice, um, maybe maybe I saw somebody do something, and if I picked up what they did, advice. Let me go with this. Um, YouTube University is bad
Mm.
advice at times. Just
Man.
because you see it doesn't mean that's what you need to go do, you know. So,
Absolutely.
you know, not speaking in love or encouraging to one another, I don't like that. If you see somebody struggling in an area, I'd rather you reach out and say, "Hey, I noticed something. Are you open to hearing some suggestions?" No. All right, then.
Right.
Well, keep doing your thing, girl.
Right.
Go ahead. Or
Yes.
yes. Oh, thank you. You know, I would love to see more
Yes.
of that. YouTube University, you come sit in my chair and you say, "Well, why are you doing it that way? That the girl on YouTube did it this way." Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Well, let me tell you
Yeah.
why I'm doing it this way and things of that nature. And be careful doing it that way, because now you about to fry your hair, girl. Oh, those two things
Hmm.
don't even go together. You shouldn't do that. So that's the closest that I
Yes.
can think of bad
And that's the
advice.
difference between, yes. But that's the difference between being a professional and not. It's so important to educate your guests on the why behind what you're telling them. Sometimes guests are like children, right? Like it's I'm telling you this is what you need to do, but sometimes they're like children and they need to know the why in order to
Mhm.
validate, you know. So,
Yes. And that's good when you are okay with sitting back, listening, taking in the information and being able to explain without necessarily having an attitude, but being educational, because they know not what they
mhm,
do. They don't. They don't know.
exactly.
Yes.
All right. So, if I have one final question for you.
Mhm.
If you could talk to little baby LaToya, 9,
Mhm.
10, 11-year-old LaToya, who had never considered that cosmetology might be her purpose, um, what would you tell her today, knowing all that you know?
I would tell her to go after what excites you. Go after, well, actually, you know what? I would tell her pray. Pray and get
Mm,
God's confirmation, because God has a purpose for each and every one of us. And until we find out what God's purpose is, we will constantly go in circles. And what God has for you is not just good for you today, it is good for you tomorrow. And what God has for you is not just good for you, it's good for multiple. And when
mm,
you realize that you're having a great time doing what you do and you feel purposeful, stick with doing that. Don't listen to what everybody has to say. Just focus on what God is revealing to you, because you may be the first one to do many, many of things. You don't have to be a people follower. And for anything that you're going to follow, make sure it's a follower of great things. Uh, but never stop dreaming, never stop having an imagination. Your imagination can become reality. And it may sound crazy, but it's crazy until you get it done.
amen. That's so awesome. And as I was listening to you talk to baby LaToya, I was thinking about all of the things that you did to get you to this point. You went to school to be an architect, okay? You studied fashion and marketing. And it reminds me of some of the best advice. And I just got this in the last few years. Do you know Kia Neal yet?
I
Are you
might, but
familiar with Kia Neal?
no, but I'm going to
So,
be now.
Kia Neal, yes, look her up and get connected with her. She's incredible, but she heads several initiatives. One of them is called Texture versus Race. And she was one of my earliest interviews that I ever did. And a piece of advice that she gave me during that interview is she said that all of those things that you go through, so like the architecture and the fashion and all of that, that when you get to your place of purpose, that you'll end up using all of that, and that was
Mhm.
preparing you for this moment. You'll end up using it all. So I'm super excited to see what comes out of your career because you have a really interesting background to pull from. I'm super excited to see all of the things that you grow into. Um, Thank you so much for your time today and for being willing to do this with me. Do you mind sharing how my audience can follow your movement?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for even considering and having me on here. It's definitely an honor to be able to speak with you today. For those who would like to
Yeah,
follow me, I am on Instagram as Healthy Healing. Excuse me, let me start that over. I am on Instagram as the provider of Healthy Healing Hair. So again, it's at provider of Healthy Healing Hair.
love
And
it.
yeah, you can catch me there.
Thank you, LaToya. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for your time. And I can't wait to do some more work with you in the future.
Thanks so much for listening. If you're a beauty pro with a story to tell, or you have a stylist you'd like to hear from, you can DM me via IG at Auntie Hair Coach or use the contact me form on tasha-davis.com. Or if you're feeling really spicy, send an audio message in Spotify. Whether you loved it or hated it, please leave a rating, like, and or follow because it does something fancy with the algorithm. I'm Auntie Hair Coach. Ta-ta for now.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad you could make it.